This man, after 44 years as a sports writer with the Boston Globe, is still at it with ESPN on TV. And then this book, great new book called In Scoring Position, 40 Years of a Baseball Love Affair, the Hall of Famer. Bob Ryan here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Bob?
Well, today's publication day. It's like a birthday, so I feel very good today.
Fantastic. So congratulations on that. Why baseball, Bob? I mean, you know the state of baseball today. Why did you feel the need to just go ahead and sit down at your keyboard and bang out a book about your love of that sport?
It wasn't my idea. The idea came from my partner in here, Bill Chuck, and try to give you the abbreviated story. 2 years ago, right in the onset of COVID in April of 2020, we were having a conversation. We were acquaintances, and he called me up because at that time I had started tweeting a daily diary of the 1977 Red Sox that I covered. That's the first year and the one and only year I was the full-time beat man for the Boston Globe covering the Red Sox, and I thought it would be fun to do these daily tweetings about the game and the games. And he called me and said, "You can do this every day." And I said, "Yeah, it's my plan." That launch a discussion of my scorebooks, which I have all 9 books that I started keeping and with spring training in 1977 right up to last week. And I score every game I go to at every level. That includes if I'm on quote-unquote vacation or covering other events, I always take my scorebook because you never know when a baseball game is going to break out. So he said to me, "I think you have a book in there." And I said, "Oh, come on, really?" He said, "No, I really believe that. Why don't you run the idea by some baseball-oriented people and see what they think?" And I did, and I got a positive response. I then went to my agent, Andrew Blauner, and he sold it to Triumph Books, and here we are with In Scoring Position. This is you will see the representation of the scorebook page in question at the top of the page, and then I write about what it's all about, why this game, what's going on, what is the point, what little nuggets in here, or what historical thing is in here, whatever. And Bill, who is a renowned baseball historian and researcher, writes his contribution, which might be historic and might be fleshing out the story with anecdotal stuff. There are personal anecdotes that I include here attached to these. And my whole point, Rich, is this. This is one person's baseball life of 44 years. Although, of course, it does go longer than that, but this particular 44 years, and the different experiences that baseball provides, the different oddities, the different historical stuff, the stuff that it's mine. Someone else might have his or her 1,400 games, which is how many I surveyed to do this, and they may have a whole different story, and that's how rich baseball is. And I truly believe, I've written and said this 100 times, there's more conversational fodder available in baseball than all the other 3 put together.
Bob Ryan here on the Rich Eisen Show. Our terrestrial radio audience is back with us here on Peacock and SiriusXM. I mean, I'm just looking at the cover of the book. And you say don't judge a book by its cover, but you can with this one because there are the scoring sheets that are on there, including one that looks like it's autographed by Reggie Jackson.
Okay, that's a great story. So this is what I say when I have personal anecdote. First of all, Reggie and I had a good relationship. I don't know why he took to me, and when he was covering, I was with the Yankees, and we had a nice little relationship. Fast forward from the night that he hit the 3 home runs in Game 6 in 1977, which I covered that game for the Boston Globe in the World Series of 77. Fast forward 26 years. It is the ALCS of 2003. Reggie is traveling with the Yankees. He arrives in Boston. I bring my scorebook to have him sign this. I show it to him. We're standing in front of the dugout, and Yankee dugout. He grabs the book, runs up to the batting cage where Joe Torre is standing, and is gesticulating and pointing to it and pounding his chest, and it's almost he's saying, Joe, I used to play. Did you know that? and showing him the book, and then he runs back and he signs the book, and you can see that signature. You got to believe he practiced that 1,000 times.
Oh, of course.
And the highlight, folks, is it's Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, and then in the loop inside the capital J, number 44. I mean, how cool is that?
And is that the score sheet from? It looks like from his.
That's it. That's
from the 3 home run game.
I scored in 1977. As I said, that's from my first book in 1977. I'm into my 10th book this year, in 2022, and there was something from each of the 9 books that we wrote when we and I say we because it very much is a collaborative process.
Yes.
That when we wrote the book.
Bob Ryan here on the Rich Eisen Show. So I don't know. I mean, and that's why I can't wait to dive into this, Bob. Is it's old school, and I know I sound frequently on this program get off my lawn about the shift and all the stuff going on in baseball now, where it's just a walk, a home run, or a strikeout like so many times, and and we're talking about exit velocity, and this just reminds me of a different time and how the sport has changed. What do you make of how the sport is today?
Don't forget launch angle or spin rate.
I know, right? I mean,
I'm with you. I'm not happy with the way the game has. I won't say evolved. I'll say devolved. I'm not happy with it, and I'm hoping that somehow we can get it reversed in some way. And right, I'm not pleased with it at all. But this speaks to I was going to say a more relaxed and happier time and a more sensible time in baseball, for sure. I'll give you an example of what's in the book that will never be seen again. On the 25th of September 1977, the Red Sox were playing their last road game of that season in Tiger Stadium. Reggie Cleveland took to the mound. 18 hits later, he had a complete game 12-5 victory, in which he struck out one, walked no one, and had 2 3-ball counts, deftly scattering 18 hits. I don't think we're going to see that one again. That's the old game.
No, I'm with you on that front as well, Bob, because I just remember a different time where the game was more wide open and the game was more about stealing a base, about a hit and run, about making sure somebody's in, hitting the gap, not putting 4 outfielders in there because the analytics says something like that, or just and I could see again the metric on this show that I try and plug into what fans of this show want to hear or see. And the metrics I could see is our YouTube page in this 21st century. I could see what people want to talk about or what's interesting to them. And the only baseball items that rate is when I rant against Angel Hernandez or Dan Bellino massages Madison Bumgarner's pitching hand while staring into his eyes. Like that's what rates right now for baseball.
Well, it is. It's depressing for me. It's scary. Nothing's forever. This is our oldest team sport in America. It goes, the organized baseball leagues go back as far as the 1860s, and certainly the first real one that stuck was 1871. So we go back well over 150 years, and it was our national pastime. It is no longer. We know that. I think it has things in it that no other game has. But generations change, things change. I remind people that on the onset of the 20th century, the 3 most popular sports in America, without any question, right up to 1960, roughly, were baseball, boxing, and horse racing. Now, we know what's happened to the other 2, and let's salute Strike Rich, or Rich Strike, whatever his name is. Nice. I watched that race, too. But we know what's happened to the other 2, and it would be folly for baseball to think that the changing tastes of a 21st century population wouldn't consign baseball to the dustbin as well if they're not careful about the product they're putting out there. I think we both feel that way.
And then I am remiss in one other, I guess, baseball story that people it resonates with them, and this is a good one. Is Ohtani? Whenever we talk about Ohtani, people kind of dig that. Grand Slam home run, Oppo last night. This guy is unbelievable, and him and Trout together. Finally, this is some good stuff, right?
Well,
that's the good stuff.
We had a full showcase last Thursday in Boston. He went 7 wonderful innings, striking out 11, just dazzling people. I mean, by the second inning, I'm sitting there looking at this. I said, he's got one guy in a fastball. He's got another guy in a slider. He's got another guy on a straight old-fashioned curveball. He's got another guy in a splitter. I said, when's the changeup coming? And this is before the second inning was over. He had struck out 4 different people on different pitches. And then, of course, he gets 2 hits. He hits the ball to the 420 sign in center, and he hits one off the wall. It was the full showcase for the most part. He's extraordinary. And of course, they had a wonderful note in their notes that this is the first time since 1919, and you can guess who, that where the starting pitcher batted in the top 4 spots in the order.
Bob Ryan here on the Rich Eisen Show. I asked this question for my wife, who's right across the way and who You read Bob all the time, right?
Oh,
Sue?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Hey,
you're smiling like this is your childhood basically coming to life right there. I don't mean to date you, Bob, but this is the truth.
That's okay. I like it.
Okay. What's your favorite Fenway moment?
It would be the combination of games 4 and 5 in 2004. From the ninth inning on, when Millar earned the walk off Rivera, Dave Roberts stole the most famous stolen base in Red Sox history and one of the handful of most famous in all of baseball history. And then Bill Miller singles up the middle and ties it up, and we then go into the 14th, and Poppy hits one out. And then the next day, which was excruciating, a wonderful, just incredible baseball roller coaster, the 14 innings, and they, when Tim Wakefield is and pass bowling with Varitek, the winning run around the third before he finally strikes out Ruben Sierra, and then Poppy gets a 10-pitch at-bat, blooper single to win. The 2 games took over 11 hours, Rich, and ended on the same calendar day because Game 4 ended after midnight and Game 5 started at 5 p.m. And the combination of them, and, of course, the whole drama of it, the Yankees, and we didn't know how it was going to be fulfilled, but we knew that, something very interesting might be happening, and of course we all know that it did. I would have to say that. And one other, though, I have to cite, and I was president in 1967 on final day when they beat the Twins to win the pennant, and culminating the great Impossible Dream season in which I started out being indifferent to the Red Sox as a college student and wound up going to 27 games, most of them with my then girlfriend, now wife of 52, almost 53 years, and that day will be remembered by Red Sox fans of a certain age forever. October 167.
You're smiling broadly over there, Suze, just listening to this whole thing.
I'm smiling. Part of me is laughing because you're sick to your stomach hearing this because you're such a Yankees
Yeah, it's
fan.
okay, though.
But also, Bob, it's the way you and Leslie Visser seem to remember every single pitch, every single at-bat. It's insane, and I'm laughing because I don't remember what I did yesterday.
Well, I'm fortunate in that I have that one aptitude. I won't say skill. It's for words. There is a part of me in my brain retains this arcane information, and because I have no mechanical skill, I do not know what I could have done for a living if I didn't possess this other aptitude. No, I'm very, very serious. I'm hopelessly mechanically inept. I'm overwhelmed by the technology of the day. I'm lucky I know how to tweet. I do know how to tweet, but. I'm just fortunate. Words and playing with them and rearranging them are what I can do, and then these things stick in my mind that is kind of bizarre, but thank God they do.
Well, I mean, scoring also helps, right? I mean, scoring helps you remember stuff and jar your memory, not just looking at the score sheet, but it does actually help you remember, well, this was out, this guy was on, that sort of thing,
Oh, yeah, that's true. And, of course, one of the things about scoring, it keeps you in the game. It forces you to concentrate, and so something sticks. And I happen to think it's a lot of fun. And at the end, but so yes, it's part of. But once again, it fits in with my limited aptitude. That's what I got. I don't have anything else to offer.
I'd be remiss, Bob, before hanging up with you, Bob Ryan, here on the Rich Eisen Show, if I did not bring up the current Celtics to you. Did not think when you were coming on today that Al Horford and John Havlicek would be in the same sentence, but such is the case.
That was an inspiring, uplifting performance and all the more so because when you know that this is one of those athletes that you can point to your kid and say, please, be like him. Listen to him. Al Horford is for real. And you realize, here's Rich, a year ago, you know how his season ended, right? In Charlotte, it didn't end at the end. It ended in the middle. They sat him down permanently so they could play kids. He was an appendage. He was a surrogate assistant coach, and the Celtics traded Kemba Walker to get him back. And most people just, arched their eyebrow and shrugged. Oh, wow, we want him back. It's done, right? Didn't Charlotte tell us he's done? And look at that last night. I mean, that is just one of the great stories of the year.
I mean, and again, for Brad Stevens to say, I'm going to go upstairs and let's hire Ime Udoka from Toronto and let's figure out what we're going to do with this roster, and the fact that they're now in a best of 3 against the defending champs after taking that one last night. It's truly, all the Celtics fans that I know from my colleague here, Chris Brockman, my brother-in-law, my son, my youngest son, this is like one of the most enjoyable Celtics seasons they could ever remember.
Well,
you know?
It has been since January. I can tell you that when the season started, and I told people after a week they're annoying. You know they're better in your heart, but they're not doing it. Why aren't they playing better? Why aren't they doing what you know they can do? And this was true right up to the middle of January, and they suddenly got the epiphany, whether Emmy got through to them or whether they started listening for a change or whatever. Everything fell into place. Tatum started figuring it out. Brown, Smart, who I never thought could be a true point guard, has turned into a legitimate point guard. And, of course, Robert Williams stayed healthy and long enough to make a difference, which was the big issue with him. And Al was filling all the spots here very nicely. Right now, when they play their best, Rich, they can play with anybody. I'm not predicting a win in the series. I'm not predicting the conference finals. I'm not predicting anything. I'm simply saying that there's no team they can't beat. I don't see a Colossus. The league doesn't have a Colossus team. It's got some pretty nice teams. So they're in the mix, and I think people are enjoying the ride.
And then lastly, how about Tom Brady taking every hometown discount that he gave to Bob Kraft and taking it out of the hide of the Murdochs? 10 years, $375 million deal reportedly for him to now be the number one voice in a football booth. Did you ever think that would be the end of the Brady football ride as a player?
No, I won't say it's the last thing, but it certainly wasn't high on the list of things I thought he would do. I thought he would devote all his time to huckstering his product, TB12.
He still can.
It is just a ridiculous, bunch of nonsense. But I thought that's what he would be doing. I hope that. Hey, I don't care if Murdoch wants to spend that money, Fox wants to spend that money. Fine, but I hope they know what they're getting. I can't imagine they're going to get anything more than a glorified Joe Montana, unless there's a whole other Tom Brady that the world has never seen. He simply doesn't fit the profile of an entertaining analyst, as far as I can see.
Well, I mean, all the times that you may have interviewed him, or Shaughnessy, your longtime colleague at the Globe, or anyone else, he was given the Belichick line, right? Give you nothing, say nothing, don't give the other team anything.
Very cautious, very protective of his image, and intelligent. You know, he was intelligent. And my friend Shelley Pierce wrote a good book about him moving the chains, and he went back to Michigan and talked to people. And there's no question he's an intelligent guy, but he's shrewd. I mean, look at the way he's constructed his life. He's not a hermit. He goes out in public, yet he's got an invisible shield protecting him from the public, even if he's standing 5 feet away from you. I mean, he's just been able to do that. Marries a supermodel. He never married the girl, went out with the girl next door. It was always some celebrity, and then Richard Moynihan before her. He marries the most famous model in the world. She makes more money than him. It's an amazing life that he's constructed, and he just glides through it. And I guess this will be the latest chapter.
Well, I guess you also have to now amend that to she makes more money than him line. Potentially, although I shouldn't say that. I have no idea.
I was gonna say.
Oh, she's still on top of that.
Yeah, 80 million.
I had no idea. That'll be for another book. In scoring position, 40 years of a baseball love affair. Bob Ryan, let's do this more often.
I'd be very, very pleased to. Good to talk.
Would you please say hi to Mr. Tony for me? Will you please do that for me?
I absolutely will do that.
Okay.
I'm going to be on Around the Horn tomorrow, but I'll convey the message to Mr.
Please do that. That'll be part of the 5 Good Minutes when you do chat with him on that front. Thanks for the call, Bob.
Oh, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. That's
Bye.
Bob Ryan from ESPN, and of course, longtime sports writer in Boston. Go buy this book. This is going to be great. In scoring position, 40 years of a baseball love affair. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.